What are we supposed to do now? Vic looked for something to punch, but neither Dexter, nor Argmon, nor Lou fit the bill. Even the plants looked like they wouldn't help if he tried to hit any of them. Sir, I think it's best if we go back to the ship. Perhaps they'll be along shortly. Lou adjusted his hat and looked at Dexter, then at Argmon. To his credit, Lou was doing well with the different alien races he'd run into so far. Perhaps he was just keeping it together for now and would lose control later like he did around Bob. You don't understand, Lou. You, me, June, and Joey are the last people from Earth. Remember what I told you about it being gone? We can't just leave them. Eep, beep, beep. Dexter's eyes blinked out of unison. Dexter, do you think you and Argmon could... The lights blinked off and on, and the ground shook. Vic put his hands on Argmon to keep his balance. Okay, anyone know what's up with that? Argmon growled and barked. Eep, beep, beep. Can we just get out of here? Lou, we'll get out of here when we get out of here. Just relax. Argmon, you and Dexter need to get up there and see what you can do if you can spot June and Joey. We'll knock them out and take them with us if we have to. Why didn't we do that in the first place? I'm trained in several different ways to... Shut up, Lou. I need you to head over there and see if our big friends are still looking for us. It's been too quiet. Maybe they're out there waiting for us. Try not to be seen. Any of you. Beep, beep, beep. Does this thing ever say anything else? That's Dexter. We'll do introductions later when we're back on the ship. I'm going this way to see if I can find another way out. This place is big, and I'm sure there are lots of hiding places. Have you noticed there's no dirt or dust or anything? I would have thought a place this big you'd find dust and dirt everywhere. I mean, they're so big, but who sweeps the corners? Lou! Seriously! Get moving, all of you! He didn't have time for this. Didn't any of them get the danger they were in? And Lou just wanted to talk about dust and dirt? Perhaps the Marine had lost his mind. Argmon and Dexter he knew well enough. They'd stick with him. It was a little surprising that Dexter hadn't stuck with June. Joey was no surprise. The biggest shocker of the day had been June. How could she decide to stay when they were in more trouble than she could imagine? And just what was she doing up there? That smaller thing she was talking to couldn't be in charge of the bigger ones. Vic pushed his way through the gigantic vegetation. The purples, pinks, and reds made the plants look as if they were made of some kind of flesh. They were even warm to the touch, which gave him pause. He knew green meant plants that got food from sunlight, whatever that process would call. Joey would know. And these weren't green. Maybe they were some type of living being on this planet and didn't get energy from the sun. The tiny thing in the middle of the planet certainly couldn't give off enough energy to be considered a sun, after all. That didn't matter. A problem for these people wasn't a problem for them. Best he just got the crew off this rock and back to Munchkata or Planchar or anywhere friendly. They would be able to rest for a bit, take a little time off, and head out again. All this would blow over, and Poo-Poo could do whatever he needed with his planet. Vic was done and out and needed to get back to doing things that were going to make him money. He followed the wall along the plants until he came to a break in the foliage. Just as he feared, the steps went up, the wall continued, and there were a couple of guards standing and waiting. One pointed at him, and he turned and ran back until he was deep under cover. He knew what waited for him on the other side. Now what? Vic! Vic! Over here! Lou was crouched with a pair of binoculars. He pointed up the stairs and handed Vic the spyglasses. At the top of the stairs, June and Joey stood talking to Plu-Plu or Plop-Plop or Fizz-Fizz, whatever his name was. An officer stood next to them and gesticulated wildly, his arms flailing about. Dexter and Argmon had gotten most of the way up the stairs and were trying to stay hidden from sight. Great. The fuzz was about to make their bust, and most of the crew was in trouble of being caught. June had screwed this one up. What do we do, sir? Lou took the binoculars back. I wish it were that easy. We managed to find them. I'm still not sure how you did that. Lou looked as if he were ready to explain. Vic held up a hand to stop the soldier from talking. I'm glad you were able to do what you did. I really am. Finding people and reasoning with them are two different things. I'm thinking we may need to bite the bullet, get up there, and reason with this thing. Maybe we'll get lucky and convince it that we're innocent in all this mess. Are you? Lou asked. Am I what? Innocent, I mean. What did you do that this officer is looking to arrest you? Maybe I should have asked before getting myself into all of this, but what exactly did you do? Lou, you're from Earth. June and Joey are from Earth. I am from Earth. That's all you need to know until we get back on that ship and get out of here. Got it? I'm just thinking that if you can give me a little more to go on, then I can help. Honestly, from what you said, I'm stuck here. For now, anyway. And if we're stuck here together, right or wrong, maybe there's something I can do to help us get out of here. I mean, more than just finding everyone. We seem to have accomplished that. Now, how do we get everyone together? I'm sensing a little rift in the crew, and I don't like that. We need to function as a unit. Stop. I don't need this right now. Just give me a minute to think. Is that so much to ask? Lou shouldered his weapon and stood to his full height. Even so, he was still shorter than Vic, though far more intimidating. You may think you're in charge, but if that were the case, why do we have two people unwilling to come down here? We're in a dangerous situation. What's the plan for getting us out? You told me you had this all figured out. Well, two things kind of threw that plan out the window, okay? First, I wasn't expecting Sheriff Buford T. Justice to show up. Second, I wasn't expecting an entire civilization living inside this planet. I'm still trying to process all of that, and if you keep standing there yammering, I'm never going to be able to figure out how we're getting out of this one. Lou relaxed a bit. That's all Vic could ask for at the moment. Just a few minutes of silence so he could collect himself. He'd dealt with strange races and strange cultures before. It just took a little planning, a little charisma. He was good at talking when the situation called for it. This time, he'd panicked. He thought only of getting out of Dodge. That couldn't be the only solution. He needed to try and spin this in a way that would pacify everyone involved and get the SS Acid Rat on its way. The sky blackened again, and the ground shook briefly. Vic, why is it doing that? Lou aimed his weapon at the ground as if something were about to erupt forth and swallow him. I don't know. Muffin, are you on the con? I'm here, Victor. What do you need? I need you to figure out what's going on. Could you be a little more specific? Last time didn't work out so well, if you recall. I'd hate to see you flat on your back again. Who's this I'm hearing in my ear? Lou tapped the side of his head. That's Muffin, remember? The ship's computer? Lou nodded his head. Muffin, I need you to do a scan and report back to me as soon as you understand why the lights keep going out and why the ground is shaking. I don't want you to use all your processing power to do so. If you need to, keep a conversation going with Bob. Just don't let yourself get overloaded. I may need you in a few minutes. Got that? Do I have to talk to Bob while I'm doing this? You know he gives me the creeps. Last time when the entire crew left the ship, he... Don't need to hear about this right now, Muffin. I just need you to do as I asked and start some kind of a scan. Every few minutes, let me know what the guards are doing over there as well. That's a fairly tall order, Victor. I think I can handle it. Vic almost said this wasn't the time for his ship's computer to start thinking, but thought that might not end well. Instead, he looked up the stairs and dreaded going up them another time. Going up once was difficult. Going back down, he thought he was going to throw a knee out. He didn't like the thought of heading back up there, but June and Joey needed his help. They weren't going to be able to talk themselves out of this one. June was far too honest, and Joey was likely to jabber his way into unconsciousness. Dexter and Argmon had sat down and appeared to just be waiting for Vic to get up there. Let's go, Lou. We've got a lot of steps to get up. The two started up the steps. Vic wished for Lou's youthful vigor. The soldier would hop up a step, wait for Vic, then repeat the process. It wasn't the smoking or drinking that had sucked all of Vic's strength. It had been the easy life they'd been living. Well, him more than the others. The two big guards on either end of the stairs stayed put and just watched Vic and Lou climb. At least they hadn't tried to push through the purple plants at the base. That had bought Vic at least a little bit of time to think things over. He didn't like their imposing silence, the way they just stood and watched with those gigantic unblinking eyes and faces with no nose or mouth. They all looked exactly the same. It was unnerving. Puffing and panting, Vic finally made it to the top. Pure adrenaline must have pushed him up the first time. He took a moment to put his hands on his knees and take a few deep breaths. We're at the top, sir. Vic wanted to make a snarky reply, but Lou was just being nice, and he had said sir after all. Just in front of them, June and Joey stood talking with a smaller blob thing with one of the officers. All three turned around. Vic? You came back? June started toward him, but a fat officer held her back and stepped around her.
Vic, captain of the SS Acid Rat, I think it's time I made your acquaintance. Then I'll be placing you under arrest. I'm Sheriff Buford T. Justice, and this is my son, Junior.
The fat officer took off his hat and reached out to shake Vic's hand. The ground shook so hard that all but Dexter and the blob fell to the ground. Then the sun went out. You've been listening to Hollow, V&A Shipping, Book 2, written and read by J.R. Murdoch. For more information about this production and its author, visit jrmurdoch.com. There are a lot of ways you can choose to spend your time. Thank you for choosing to spend it with me.